Integrating emotional responses to past trauma with self-awareness involves understanding how the nervous system, particularly the fight or flight response, affects the mind, body, and behavior. This process is complex, intertwining biology, psychology, and memory. Here's an in-depth exploration of these concepts. Biology, the nervous system, and the fight or flight response. The body's response to trauma is deeply rooted in the nervous system, particularly the autonomic nervous system, which regulates involuntary bodily functions like heart rate, digestion, and respiratory rate. The autonomic nervous system has two main branches. Sympathetic nervous system activates the fight or flight response during perceived threats. When a person encounters a stressful or traumatic event, the sympathetic nervous system releases hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. These hormones prepare the body to either confront the danger, fight, or escape it, flight. Physiological changes include increased heart rate, rapid breathing, heightened alertness, and a surge of energy. Parasympathetic nervous system promotes the rest and digest response, helping the body return to a state of calm after the threat has passed. The parasympathetic nervous system slows the heart rate, reduces blood pressure, and conserves energy. In cases of trauma, the fight or flight response may be triggered frequently, even in the absence of real danger. This chronic activation can lead to long-term physiological and psychological effects. Psychology, emotional reactions, and self-awareness. Trauma can profoundly affect a person's emotional life. The emotional reactions tied to trauma are often intense and can be triggered by reminders of the traumatic event, known as triggers. These reactions are stored in the brain's limbic system, particularly in areas like the amygdala and hippocampus amygdala, the brain's emotional center. It assesses threats and activates the fight or flight response. In trauma survivors, the amygdala can become hypersensitive, leading to exaggerated emotional responses. Hippocampus, responsible for memory formation. Trauma can disrupt the normal functioning of the hippocampus, leading to fragmented or disjointed memories of the event. Prefrontal cortex, involved in decision-making, emotional regulation, and self-awareness. Trauma can impair the prefrontal cortex's ability to regulate emotions, leading to impulsivity or difficulty managing emotional responses. Memories of trauma are often stored differently in the brain than regular memories. Trauma can lead to implicit memories. These are unconscious memories stored in the body and brain, often felt as physical sensations or emotional responses without conscious recollection of the traumatic event. Explicit memories, on the other hand, are conscious memories that can be recalled and narrated. In trauma, explicit memories can be fragmented or suppressed. When a person encounters a trigger, something that reminds them of the past trauma, the brain can activate the implicit memories, leading to a sudden, intense emotional or physical response, such as panic, fear, or anger. This reaction can occur without the person fully understanding why they feel this way, as the response is rooted in unconscious memory. Self-awareness is the conscious recognition and understanding of one's emotions, thoughts, and behaviors. In the context of trauma, it involves recognizing how past experiences influence present reactions. Here's how self-awareness can be developed and integrated. Mindfulness practices such as mindfulness meditation can help individuals become more aware of their bodily sensations and emotional states, allowing them to observe their reactions without being overwhelmed by them. This awareness can create space between the trigger and the reaction, enabling more thoughtful responses rather than automatic ones. Therapy and processing techniques like cognitive behavioral therapy or CBT and eye movement desensitization and reprocessing or EMDR help individuals process traumatic memories. These therapies work by reframing the traumatic experiences, reducing the intensity of emotional responses, and integrating these memories into a coherent narrative. Body-based therapies, because trauma is stored in the body, focus on physical sensations such as somatic experiencing or yoga, can help release the tension held in the body, reducing the physiological impact of trauma. Building resilience through self-awareness, individuals can develop strategies to cope with triggers, build emotional resilience, and cultivate a sense of safety and control over their responses. Imagine someone who experienced a car accident, the trauma. Years later, they might react strongly to the sound of screeching tires, the trigger. Biologically, the amygdala perceives the sound as a threat, activating the sympathetic nervous system and inducing a fight or flight response. Perhaps their heart races and they feel a surge of anxiety. Psychologically, they might not consciously remember the accident, but their body remembers the fear. This reaction could lead to avoidance behavior, like refusing to drive or taking long detours to avoid certain roads. Through self-awareness, they can recognize this pattern. With therapeutic support, they might work on gradually exposing themselves to driving again, practicing mindfulness to stay present, and using body-based therapies to reduce the physical tension associated with the memory. In summary, self-awareness in the context of trauma involves understanding how the nervous system's fight or flight response interacts with emotional reactions, memories, and behavior. By integrating this awareness, individuals can better manage their responses to triggers, heal from past trauma, and improve their overall well-being.